Check, check, check. Hello, hello. I always have to check my microphone because I think the audio levels don't get adjusted when I'm quiet for so long, getting ready for everything to go live. Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to the Midlife Revolution. Thank you for being here tonight. This is the first Sunday evening that I have my Facebook audience with me as well. I think I set it up so that it would go live on my Facebook at the same time as my YouTube channel, but as we know, I'm not the best at technology, so whether or not it actually happened, I have no idea. I guess we'll find out. So, happy Sunday evening to all of you. I hope that you are getting ready to set some good intentions for this coming week. It's been a wonderful week for me, difficult but wonderful in so many ways. Um, I always love it when I get the chance to do a little reflection and learn some things about myself and about my life situation and about my circumstances that teach me things. And what I learned this week is that I should always trust my instincts because every time that I don't trust my instincts, I am disappointed in some way. So I wrote that down actually, and I'm going to just refer back to that this whole week. And I think that's my main intention this week is to refer back to my little note that I wrote myself that when I trust my instincts, things go smoothly, and when I don't, I always am disappointed. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. If you are new to the channel, thank you for being here. Please take a second to subscribe if you can. Over half of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers, and it's the best free way to support the channel. You can also like the episode. You can share it with someone who you think needs to hear this message tonight. And of course, if you are able, we always love to have new channel members. If you're able to become a channel member, that is also a great way to support the channel. Um, Thank you, Ashley, for being here as a wonderful mod. I really appreciate you. We're getting ready to add a couple more mods, and I'm really excited about that. Also, again, as I said, I finally connected my Facebook. I went ahead and took my personal page, scrubbed it of a bunch of stuff, went ahead and accepted the 30 or 40 friend requests that I had from people who obviously either came from the channel or from the case or something like that, and created a business page for the Midlife Revolution so that I could connect with more people on Facebook. So this is the first time that I've programmed it to go live on Facebook. I see a little green check mark next to the Facebook icon on my screen, but I have no idea if that's happening or not. Those of you who are coming to me from the YouTube channel, I see a little YouTube icon next to your username, but I don't see any Facebook people yet. So that could just be because it's a new thing. I only have a couple of hundred people who've liked that page, so it's possible that that's the reason. I'm not sure of the technology. So if somebody is from Facebook, put a big emoji or something so that we know that you're here from there. So tonight, and actually going forward on these Sundays, I really want to have a topic of discussion, something specific to focus on. And tonight I wanted to focus on this quote from Marianne Williamson that is one of my favorites. It's something that I contemplate often and I come back to a lot as I'm in different stages and phases of learning and growing. I don't know how many of you know the author Marianne Williamson, but she's written several books, many books. And a lot of them are in sort of the same genre as the things that we're talking about here on this channel: healing, reflection, self-care. And the particular quote that I'm talking about is probably her most famous one. And it comes from her book, A Return to Love: Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. She talks a lot about miracles. And even though I don't specifically identify with her particular faith journey, the spirituality of what she talks about resonates with me. And so I wanted to dive into this quote because it is one of the things that has caused me a lot of contemplation across my healing journey. So I'm just going to read it to you. But also I want to recognize that there's a lot to dig into here and a lot to comment on. And if you have ideas and comments, I would love to hear them. As always, we're here as a community to support each other in our healing journeys and in our struggles and whatever we happen to be going through at the time. So, Marianne Williamson says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to think about. It's a contemplation about spirituality, about our worth, about our effectiveness in the world, about the way we show up in the world, and the fact that when we show up as our truest, strongest, most authentic selves, we give other people permission to do the same. And when we conquer our fear, we give other people permission to show up as bold and courageous and strong as well. It's something that really resonates with me, but it's also something that I have to challenge myself about from time to time because I fall into these cycles of not believing in myself as much as I should and not being as courageous as I should. And this is one of those quotes that kind of helps me get back to center. So I'm curious about your thoughts. I'm curious to hear your reflections on this quote. And I'm also, as always, interested to hear your intentions for the week. I'm interested to hear how your intentions went for last week. Did you practice your self care? Did you exercise? Did you take time for yourself? Were you patient with yourself? All of those things that we promised ourselves we were going to do last week, did we keep those promises? I'm always interested to hear from you how things went. As for me personally, I was able to take some time to allow myself to be messy, and I was messy for most of the week. But then I took some great pleasure a couple of days ago in getting back into my habits and routines and making sure that I was doing my laundry care ritual. Um, that's one of the things that is the first to go out the window when things get stressful or difficult is that I end up digging through endless baskets of clean clothes and never having anything hanging. But I was able to conquer that this week, and I was able to give myself some space to just be messy because I was grieving and I was um, reflecting on the ways in which I did not show up well for myself. And so, anyway, I actually did um, live up to my intentions last week. So, I know I've missed a lot of comments. So, if anybody had a comment or question in the past, however many minutes we've been on here, I guess 8 or 9 minutes, please go ahead and restate it because I haven't seen, I haven't seen a lot of those. Um, Chandra, thank you for supporting the channel. That's really kind of you. I appreciate it so much. Um, Margot, thank you for this. It's sometimes helpful not to use the S word should. I used to have, well, I do have a friend who used to say that we cannot should on ourselves. Don't tell yourself you should do this or you should do that because should doesn't really matter. It only matters what is and what is not, what you do and what you do not do. Should is not really a helpful concept. And I have to remind myself of that from time to time. But I think in the context of this quote, it's really a challenge to just be your highest self. I don't think it's a judgment. I don't think it's a shame of any kind. It's just a challenge. And so I try to give people grace in the way that they word things and phrase things because we're not all perfect in the way that we speak and, use our language. I try to be very intentional with the words that I use, but sometimes I misspeak as well. So, um, GTSY is good to see you. Good to see you, beautiful humans. Thank you. Interesting, 0. The only thing I remember from Psych 101 before I dropped out is that humans have no instincts. I disagreed, but that was 55 years ago. We do go through cycles of thoughts. I think the psychology is very different nowadays. I think it is very common for psychology study to be rooted very strongly in the fact that we do have instincts. In fact, the limbic system is what kind of controls our instincts, and it's what a lot of psychologists now refer to as the lizard brain. It's that part of our brain that is hardwired for survival and survival only, that works purely on instinct, and when we get triggered or when we're in stress or when we get threatened, we go back to that limbic system, to that lizard part of our brain that only wants to survive, and we forget to be compassionate and kind and to connect with people, and the only thing we care about is surviving. So that's why we get this fight or flight or freeze reflex that happens, because it's about purely just the survival. So I think that we do have instincts that are hardwired into us, and it is really hard to overcome those instincts when we are in a stressful situation. And that's why so many of us will act out of fear or out of anger rather than acting out of our highest self, of somebody who's compassionate and kind and in control. Um, Sarah, I think that there are a lot of excuses to not use your instinct. In fact, I would argue that when we refer back to our basal instincts, we're not really behaving in the best way, because our instincts are meant for our survival, whereas the other qualities that we have that allow us to connect with other human beings and to allow for other people's differences, those are the things that make us human and not animals. I think our instincts are part of, again, part of that lizard brain that's not human. And I think that not using our instincts at a snap when we're in a situation where our emotions are elevated or where we're triggered is what makes us human. The ability to control our impulses, to control our emotions, to have mastery over our emotions, not to repress them necessarily, but to have mastery over when we allow them to come out. And sometimes our first response, our first instinct is that animal instinct. And so sometimes it's helpful for us to wait a moment, take a breath, take a step back, remove ourselves from the situation, and then think, what would I like this situation to look like in 5 minutes, in 5 hours, in 5 days, in 5 months, in 5 years? Um, I don't know who first came up with that concept, but when I first heard it, it changed a lot of the way that I relate to people, because it allowed me to let go of a lot of things that seemed really consequential to me in the moment. But when I thought about how long is this feeling going to last and do I want to hang on to it, it enabled me to just let it go and to say, this is not going to matter in 5 minutes. It's not going to matter in 5 hours. Um, and to be able to just move on without reacting to something. Um, so I want to go back to this quote for just a second, and I wish I could. I mean, I guess I could share it with you. I just didn't think about doing it first, so I will go ahead and share my screen with you so that you guys can read along with me, because I think for me personally anyways, I'm a visual person, and it helps when I can see things and sort of dissect them as I'm looking at them. So, just to address this first part of it, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. I think a lot of us are afraid that we're not enough, and we get told all the time that we're not enough, we're not doing enough, we're not producing enough, we're not rich enough, we're not successful enough, we're not skinny enough, we're not beautiful enough. We get told that all the time by media, people who market to us, and also just unkind people in our lives. And so I think that a lot of us believe that that is our greatest weakness, is that we're not enough, we're not adequate, we're not as good as other people. And I think it's sort of a fallacy. It's a thing to hide behind in some ways. It's a way for us to keep ourselves small, to think, "Oh, I'm just not good enough." We're self-deprecating a lot. We say, "I could never do that. Oh, I could never have a YouTube channel. Oh, I could never have a podcast. Oh, I could never put myself out there like that." I'm talking about the things I say to myself sometimes. It's a way of just keeping ourselves small to just think, "Oh, I'm inadequate." But that's really not our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is that we are so powerful that we might do something spectacular. Um, I'm really looking forward to an episode that I have coming up with Brittany Hartley. She is an atheist spiritual director, and she and I had an excellent conversation about the 4 existential fears. And if this is something you haven't heard of before, I think it's important to dig into because these are 4 fears that are universal to the human experience, and it doesn't matter where you come from, how educated you are, what religion you come from, what background you come from. These are fears that are universal to the human experience. The fear of death, obviously, right? The fear of isolation. We want to belong, we want to be loved, we want to be around people. The fear of meaninglessness. What if none of this means anything? And the last one, believe it or not, is the fear of freedom. We are afraid to not have rules, to not have structure, to not be told what to do. And when I look at this quote, I think it's so true. We're not afraid that we're inadequate. We're afraid that we're too powerful. It's that fear of freedom, that fear of success that most people don't really think about, but it is a real thing. We're afraid to be successful because it means then we stand out. Then people see us. Then people examine us. Then people criticize us. It is, and then just to go on with her quote, it is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I? I'm nobody, right? Who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And then she challenges that idea. Who are you not to be? Whether you believe in God or not, our very existence on this planet is remarkable. It's miraculous. It's awe-inspiring. It's impossible to describe. Even if you do believe in God, even if you do believe that God created the universe and created you, why did he create you? Why you? Why did he make you the way that he was? It's a point of wonder for all of us. And what Marianne Williamson does is she challenges us and says, "Who are you not to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? You are. You're a child of God or you're a child of the universe. And you pretending to be small does not serve the world because who you are is miraculous, nothing short of miraculous. Whether you believe in God or not, if you believe in God, it's the miracle of creation. If you don't believe in God, it's the miracle of how did we even get here? Why is it that our species survived in this vast universe where there's so little other life like ours? Your playing small does not serve the world. If you pretend to be small when you're actually larger than life, all that does is deny who you really are. All it does is dishonor the magnificence of the fact that you exist, right? There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. It's that idea of, I don't know, I'm going to use a choir analogy because I'm a choir person. Um, it's the idea of being in a group of people who are all singing together and saying, "Well, I'm not gonna sing loud because if I do, then I'm gonna sing louder than the people around me, and I'm gonna overpower these other people, and I don't wanna stand out. I just wanna blend in." But the truth of the matter is that if you do sing out, if you do take that chance to be the loudest one, everyone else is going to match your volume. Everyone else is going to come out with their own unique sound too. If you have an excellent voice and you sing quietly, you're robbing everyone of the opportunity to match you. Your playing small does not serve the world. It does the world a disservice. Your playing small hides the unique gifts and talents that you have. This is what I wish more people understood. I wish more people understood that your life experiences have brought you to a very specific place in time with a very specific circle of influence around you, and your experiences uniquely qualify you to teach other people how to live and how to come through the things that you've come through. Because none of us get through this life unscathed. None of us get to the point that we're at right now without experiencing hardship and pain and grief and disappointment and shame. None of us do. And what you've been through, and the fact that you're still here, and that you're here right now showing up in this community to chat with people and support people, that means you've come through something and you have something to add to the conversation. You have unique gifts and talents that only you can contribute to the conversation. And the people in your circle of influence are the ones who can benefit the most by what you have to say, what you have to share, and what you've been through. So you staying quiet is doing a disservice to yourself. First of all, it's betraying yourself because it's not acknowledging everything you've been through and how far you've come to get to where you are right now. But it also does a disservice to everybody that you're around because you're uniquely qualified to influence those people in a way that no one else can. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we've been through, for the lessons that we've learned, and for the fact that we're here showing up for each other. When we deny ourselves the opportunity to shine a bright light, we leave someone else in the darkness. And that's the real truth of the matter. I loved one of the therapists that I had when I was in group therapy. She would guide us on meditation. Um, every day that we finished therapy, she would do a guided meditation with us. And she would go through all of the different chakra. She would guide us on a meditation through either through the woods or next to a lake or someplace that would help us be peaceful. And at the very end of the meditation, she would always say, "There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to be. There is nothing you need to say. There's nothing you need to change. You just need to be exactly who you are in this moment right now. That is enough. You are enough. You do enough. You are enough exactly how you are." I wish that we would give ourselves that kind of grace all the time, every day. I think we are too hard on ourselves. And the idea, going back to this quote, when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Just think about that for a second. Just close your eyes and listen to that for a second. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Who am I? I'm just an ordinary person who decided to start talking about hard things. And I've been amazed as I have looked around at the other podcasters and the other collaborators that I've worked with. Talking about difficult things gives other people permission to talk about difficult things too. When I tell my story, other people open up and tell their stories. I started my channel, and out of the woodwork, all these people started messaging me with their own stories too. You don't have to get on YouTube, you don't have to have a channel, you don't have to put yourself out there in the public sphere to be criticized and trolled on the internet, but the fact that you're willing to send me emails and tell me your stories. One of the things I love is that, I do these lives on Sunday night, and s inevitably Monday morning, my inbox is full of messages from people like you who are coming here to connect with each other, to support each other, to say thank you to the people on my channel for supporting them in their journey and their struggles, and it's it's empowering. When you share in the chat something difficult that you're going through, it gives other people permission to share too. It makes it a safe space for everybody. And I'm really grateful that that's the kind of community that we have here. That's exactly what I was going for when I started this channel, and I'm shocked and amazed that it's come out as well as it has. It's funny because some of the people that I talk to and I say, I started my channel in April and I have a little over 8,000 subscribers. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then other people I talk to, they're like, yeah, keep working on it. You'll get there someday. But for me, what I care about is the quality of the community. And the fact that you guys are willing to be so vulnerable with each other and so supportive of each other while I'm over here babbling, you guys are sharing things in the chat that are really important and consequential. And I really, really appreciate all the things that you're willing to share with each other. So I want to thank you again for being here. I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for being who you are and supporting the channel, not just me, but all the people who are here in this community. So thank you again. Um, I would love to hear your intentions for this coming week. For me personally, my intention is to work harder. I realize that I have a lot of work to do. um, it was empowering and also a little bit scary to say to myself, you know, I told you guys I lost my job a few weeks ago, and I said I was going to become a full-time podcaster and coach and everything, but I was still putting my resume out there and still, working my contacts in the industry I was working in, and I'm going to continue to do that. But I made a decision yesterday that I am never going to work for anybody else again. I may do consulting or I may do projects, but this is my job. This is my business. Connecting with people is what I love to do. And connecting with you one on one is what I love to do. The coaching part of this crazy podcasting YouTube world is my favorite thing. I absolutely love it. And the last couple of weeks, I've had quite a few clients who have wanted to do decluttering and tidying. That has become sort of an addiction for me. It's really fun to do that for other people and with other people. So that's something that I'm working on. Um, and that's just what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pause for just a second, talk amongst yourselves. Give me one moment if you don't mind. Okay, guys, thanks for being patient. It's Sunday night, and that means that children need forms signed and all of that stuff, which I thought we took care of, but we didn't. Anyway, it's a little bit scary to say that I'm never going to work for anybody else again. This is my business. This is my passion. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to make it work. And it's a little scary and a little difficult, but this is what's going to happen. So I'm super excited about it. Yes, it will be on my own terms, and I get to call all the shots and, you know, do and say what I want. Taking a break and getting mindful is good. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm trying to okay, so Destiny, that may be a product of needing 10,000 subs to be monetized. I think YouTube changed the requirements. I think you only have to have 1,000 now. Um, so anyway, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works. All I know is that when you guys interact with my content by commenting and liking, that YouTube pushes these videos out into the algorithm and they do better. They get more views and, you know, that's I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's what I've been told. So the more that you subscribe and please and thank you for subscribing and please and thank you for liking the video and please and thank you for interacting with it and sharing it with people because that is the best way to get the content out there. It's the best way to drive people to the channel and get more subscribers. And that way it gains more traction and more people see it. So that's a cool thing. MB, my anxiety has been debilitating this week. My intention is recognizing what is causing that hard stop and then making one step toward being active and not letting it hold me back. This is a key for me too, actually. One of the things that causes me the most consternation, I guess, or perseveration is when I'm sitting around waiting for somebody else to do something in order for me to be able to move forward. And that's one of the reasons why I said, like, I'm just not going to work for anyone else again because I want to be the one who takes the action and sees the result. So, making a step towards being active is one of the greatest ways to minimize anxiety or to alleviate anxiety, is a better way. Um, and I also think it's really important, and I applaud you for this, for digging into what's causing that. Because when we just experience the anxiety and then let it pass and then just move on without digging into it, it's going to come back. You know, if we don't try to figure out what is causing it, then we're never going to really get better about it. And I personally know that when I have those tough conversations about, hey, I think this emotional reaction was caused by this situation, it allows me to relate it back to something and then say, okay, next time I'm in that situation, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to pause and say, okay, last time I had a negative reaction to this, and I'm going to try to handle it better this time. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. William, good to see you. My intention this week is to watch two football games, my alma mater and the university that I live right by, OSU and WSU. I hope you enjoy those games. I love watching football, but I like to record it in advance so that I can skip through everything and just watch the play and then skip through everything and watch the next play. Takes less time that way. I guess it's part of my ADHD. I'm impatient, I guess, in that way. Um, thank you, Kimmy Joe. I love the sharing and the good things that came from all the bad stuff that brought a lot of us together. Yeah, this is one of those things that, if sharing our difficulties helps us to be a better community because we empathize with each other, I think that's awesome. Is the glass half full or half empty? Be thankful you have a glass with something in it. I've never liked this contemplation at all because it just, to me, the logical part of it is like, I don't know. I don't like that contemplation. But I understand what it's trying to say is like, look on the bright side. But I also find platitudes problematic because when I was growing up, that was kind of the mantra that I got fed by my family of origin was like, just choose to be happy. Just choose to look at the good stuff and ignore the bad stuff. And I think that that's problematic because if we don't ever look at the bad stuff, then we never get a chance to move on and heal. So positivity is one thing. Toxic positivity is not helpful. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that there's bad stuff, but not to dwell on it. So I had a really hard week. There was a lot of bad stuff in it, but there was also a lot of really great stuff too. And I need to acknowledge the bad stuff because it helps me not to re-experience it. Um, so I'm trying to find that balance. It's hard. Michelle's Mixed Media Madness. I always love it when your name comes up because I love alliterations. I decluttered and tidied my kitchen a few weeks back after watching Megan's video on tidying. This is great. It's inspiring. I went over to my friend's house today and helped her tidy just a couple of her kitchen cabinets, and I was amazed at how much that boosted my mood. It's like it gets addictive, honestly, to help people declutter things. And we just took everything out of the cabinets. It was just 2 cabinets. We took everything out and put it out on the kitchen table, and probably 60% of it just went right in the trash. And the rest of it just needed to be organized into groups of, similar things and then put into a proper storage container and replaced in the cabinets. And it was so amazing how much everybody was excited by that, it kind of like fueled us for the rest of the day. It was great. So I love organizing and I would love to help any of you organize things. It's just one of those things that I love. So I love to hear this, Becky Mick 412 as well. Um, Michelle, my intention this week is to not kick my guests out and get physically healthy since I've been sick with COVID. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Yes, please take care of yourself. Erin, I need to get back onto the decluttering, but I did get started again this week. One of the things I think it's so, so important to realize is that if you don't change the mindset and the habits that got you to the decluttered place in the first place, that you're just gonna go back to it. And so what we have to change is that scarcity mentality, that fear of what if and just in case that keeps us holding on to things that we don't need, whether that's emotionally or physically with objects and things like that. So we need to be able to look at things and say, why am I holding on to this? I don't need it. One of the things that my friend and I talked about today was like she had this collection of stamps. She had a ton of different stamps and little stickers from different time periods. They were all different denominations or whatever of money. And it was like if you add it all up together, it's like less than 10 bucks. But she was holding on to them like, I'm gonna need to send letters someday and I'm gonna need it. It's like, why are you wasting brain space on holding on to these stamps that, they take up space, they're cluttered, they are not really serving you, and it's probably gonna be a couple of years, if not 5-ish years or so before you actually use all of those. So wouldn't you rather just wait until you have something consequential to mail, take it to the post office and buy the postage there? I know it's kind of an extra step rather than just having the postage and putting it in your mailbox. These are the kind of questions we have to ask ourselves. We have to weigh, like, what is our opportunity cost and what is our time worth and what is our brain space worth? If it really is worth it to hang on to those little things for the peace of mind that you can just stick a sticker on the thing and stick it in your mailbox instead of going all the way to the post office, then good. That's a good decision. But hanging on to it like just in case, I don't think that's the best use of our brain resources. Thank you, Ashley, for the encouragement. I appreciate it. Justine, intention for the week, working hard at personal decision to go no contact with a family member. This week, I'm taking time off from this to enjoy time with loving family members. And I love that. I think that's wonderful. That's the definition of focusing on good things, right? Um, yeah, I'll just tell me when and where. I'll show up. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's 1,000 now, and then it's a certain number of watch hours as well. So it's a weird combination of things I don't really understand, but whatever. Reflections. My intention this week is perspective. My dear friend passed away today. I'm so sorry. And it does make me realize that the little worries really are little. Yeah. Um, I experienced a loss last week too, as many of you know, and it really does put things into perspective and it makes me want to savor time with good people. And it makes everything else seem really small. Trisha, thank you for this encouragement. That's so kind of you. Um, Erin, the videos Megan's put out are quite helpful. She has her series. I've been watching them again to refresh and reframe my thinking about things which trigger me and get me off track. I talk a lot about in the tidying video and in the kitchen video, I talk a lot about the scarcity mentality and that brain space where we hold on to things out of fear. And I think it's important for all of us to sort of consider that what our motivations behind buying things. Why do we do that? I had a friend who said like she believed in that meme that says, I don't go into Target with a list. I just show up in Target and I let Target tell me what I need. And it's like that's not really a great place to be because then you're not being intentional about how you're spending money and what things you're gathering just for the sake of gathering things and having way more than you actually need and can use. And you could use your resources in different ways to benefit yourself and your family. So I advocate for mindfulness in consumerism. Um, Yeah, Chandra, I appreciate this so much. I'm sorry you're going through that. You're getting over COVID, but still need to work in clients. And I get that. Like when you're not feeling the best and you still have to connect with people, that's so hard. I've done that so many times when I've got clients scheduled and I'm like, okay, I have to give myself a pep talk because I don't want to come into this meeting like not being positive. It's hard for all of us. Um, yes, we love our walking buddies. All of us need that. It's wonderful. Um, let's see. Charlene, thank you. I'm enjoying your content, uplifting my mood. You seem like such a sweet, honest person. Best of everything in doing your channel. Thanks. I appreciate that. I was teaching one year, and there was a girl who kept coming into the office, and there were two of us choir teachers, and she would talk to the other choir teacher mostly, but she would just kind of passing say hi to me. And I met her on the first day of school. I remembered like calling her name on the roll and everything, but I didn't remember her name because she wasn't in my class. She was in the other teacher's class. And um, one time she came into the office and the other teacher wasn't there, but I was. And she was like, "Hey, I'm going to be late to my next class. Can you write me a pass?" And I was like, "Sure, I can do that." And so I filled out a little pass for her, but I realized I didn't remember her first name. So I left it blank and she goes, "Do you not remember my name?" I was like, "Of course I do. It's Charlene." Of course, I was totally wrong. But now every time I see that name, I think of her. So anyway, side tangent. Sorry, you guys. Um, Becky McFour12, this is hard. I'm becoming an empty nester this week. My intention is to lean into feeling grateful and proud of my girls and having that be bigger than my sadness slash loneliness at this next quiet time of life. Yeah, it's so, so, so hard when the house becomes empty and you just have to sit with yourself and figure out what to do when you're still a mom, but you don't have all those active things to do all the time. I know exactly how that feels, and it's really hard, so I'm with you on that one, thank you. Um, yeah, here's some good support for you as well. Um, yeah, please do go back and watch the tidying video, it's kind of funny. I don't know, if I had thought about that for 5 seconds, I would have done a little differently, but there it is, like, you guys see all my stuff out there, and, you just but the good thing is that when I got through it, everything felt so peaceful, and I've been able to maintain it over this course of times, and it feels so, so good, and it definitely is addictive, so I hope that you guys all catch the bug of that. Um, check in next Sunday and update each other? Well, of course, that's what we do every Sunday. I'm gonna be really intentional. I know I'll feel 100% better. I hope you do. Tiff Knox, it's good to see you here. I'm an organizer too. I've been organizing the garden and the yard. I've been doing the same actually. I've been trimming trees, and actually, if I'm being honest, I have cut down 2 trees over the last 2 weeks and, trimmed a whole bunch of brush. I unfortunately have a tree in my front yard that is dying, and I'm really sad about it, and I'm trying, um, to have it not die. I don't know, that's such a dumb thing. I know it's dying, it's dying. An arborist told me that it's pretty much dead and I should cut it down before it falls on something, but it has green leaves on it still. So I can't bring myself to totally chop it all the way down. So I trimmed off all the stuff that does not have green leaves on it. I'm gonna leave it until next season and see what happens. I'll keep you posted. I'm in denial about the death of my poor it's a bur oak and it's lovely. McSpunky is remodeling to sell remodeling to sell my house. Come over anytime. Hey, I'm right there with you. I bought this house as a project because I needed one more project, right? Um, I bought this house right after I got divorced, and it was at the time when my kids were switching back and forth week on, week off. And I was like, what am I going to do on those weeks when I don't have my kids? Well, I was like, well, I'll buy a house and renovate it, and that'll be my project on the second week. I can update you 5 years later. It is still not finished, and there's lots of stuff that needs to be fixed that probably I'm never going to get to. I don't know. I shouldn't be so pessimistic, but it's a big project anyway, so I feel you. Um, oh goodness. MB, as a fellow empath, I take on all of it from everywhere. My other intention for life is knowing when I need to draw the line between me and yours. I need to listen and not feel it all. Yes, that's a skill that I've had to learn as an empath to have empathy for people, to express concern and care and consideration for them without absorbing their feelings. That is a hard thing to do the closer that I am to people. So thank you for mentioning that. Um, Tiff Knox, it's funny you mentioned this. Oh, you mean like those empty boxes I have because they're good boxes? Yeah. You want to save a box? This is a really good box. It's sturdy, it's big, it could hold things if I ever needed to move or ship something spontaneously and randomly. We hang on to these boxes. I was doing really good at letting go of that until probably a few months ago when I got a few good boxes in a row and now they're sitting in my garage and I need to just get rid of them. Um, so Aaron says school begins on Wednesday. My community, my intention is to be more intentional with my students and showing more compassion and understanding. I'm a spec ed para-educator. Yeah, and this is really difficult. When I was teaching choir, my beginner choir, first period, first thing in the morning was a place where the spec ed kids would all come in because it is like music is healing. It is. It was good for them to come in and listen to other people sing. A lot of them were nonverbal, a lot of them were not able to participate, but for them to be there, that was important. The hard thing was when there was only one para-educator for 5 or 6 girls, and I wasn't able to help them in the ways that I needed to. And when there was only one para-educator and she had to take another student out, that was really hard. So I completely understand running out of compassion and understanding when you get drained of that so quickly. So all of the peace and the healing and the energy to you for taking care of those kiddos. It is very hard work to do. Um, yeah, this it's just hard. I mean, we're supposed to give our kids roots and wings, right? But the wings is the hard part about it because we hate to send them out into the world and know that they have all these possibilities for being hurt and making mistakes and having hard times, and we wanna protect them from all that stuff, but we also want them to learn. Ugh. Um, yes, okay. Sorry, I've missed so many things, you guys. I feel like you guys are having this great conversation without me, and that's totally wonderful. I love it, but I just feel like I'm not answering everything like I should, so I appreciate you guys. You know, this would be so fun. I fully have intentions to connect with people out of town and in town as well. If you guys are interested in a meetup at some point at any place wherever the majority of people can meet, I'm totally down for that. So if anybody's in San Antonio, let me know. Those of you who are not in San Antonio, let me know where you are and we'll arrange something. We should get together. Um, In-person things are so, so important. So email me, Megan at third-verse.com, and I will facilitate some kind of a meetup. It's always good to be in person with people. Um, yeah, this is such a great, great place for people. Love it. Yes, real people with their real stuff. Me too. Um, Tiff, thank you for this. My intention this week is to spend time with my cousin and his girlfriend who are visiting from Germany and not be such a hermit, and also harvest my flower seeds from the garden. Wow. Good luck with that one, man. It's one of those things that I'm like, "Oh, I should do that thing," and then by the time I get around to it, it's too late. Um, yeah, so, Blimey Hermione07, I love your username. Oftentimes, I feel incapable and afraid to lean into my own power. Thanks, ADHD, but I'm trying to own it. Yeah, it's hard for us to admit how powerful we are because that makes us vulnerable, right? It puts us out there to be criticized and torn down and all of that, so it's tough. I'm with you. Um, yeah. Sorry, you guys, I'm just trying to make sure that I get to questions and intentions and all of that. Um, while I'm doing that, please take a second to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed and you're watching, please do subscribe because as I said before, over half of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers. And that's the best way to support the channel because the more subscribers you have, the more YouTube pushes your things out into the algorithm. And that just gets the message out to more people who need to hear it. So, um, Sarah, I feel this. My intentions for the week are to learn how to be okay. I also want to add it is okay to not be okay. Um, give yourself grace to be where you are right now. There's nothing you need to do or be that's different than who you are right now or where you are right now. So thank you. Um, not at all. It is really, really hard to offend me. It is really, really hard to annoy me. What annoys me most is when people are unkind to each other, and I don't think you've been unkind at all. So I appreciate your contributions. Oh, born and raised in San Antonio. Awesome. Um, actually, I go to Albuquerque all the time, MB, to be honest with you, because I'm always headed north and west, and Albuquerque and Santa Fe are my go-to stops on the way to Utah or on the way to California. So next time I'm in that area of the country, I will have to connect with you. Kimmy Joe, my main intention for the week is to back away from the election. I rabbit hole, stupid OCD, and I need to stop. It isn't healthy. Help. I get this because I tend to do the same thing. I'm the kind of person that I don't listen to the news, I don't watch the news. If there's something that I want to know about, I go out to sources and I seek information. The issue that I have is when I find information that I want to go corroborate it with another source. And you guys have seen my videos where I go down these ADHD fueled rabbit holes. I mean, this is what it's like for me all the time when I'm trying to research things and be informed. I want to be informed. I don't want to just take the news that I'm given at face value. I have trust issues. I don't like it when people just tell me this is exactly how it is. Well, I want to hear the other side of the story too. I want to find out. I want to see the source documents. I want to know for sure. I want to watch the video. I want to interpret it for myself. So that's me. So I understand. I do get down rabbit holes. And what I have to do is I set myself a timer and I have to be relentless about following it. If it is 6:15, I set myself a timer for 6:30 and I say, I am only going to scroll until 6:30. I'm only going to research. I'm only going to click through until 6:30. And when 6:30 comes, I have to close my phone and put it down and do something different. It is an effort. It is work. It is hard, but I'm with you on this and I know you can do it. So I support you in this intention. Inner peace, thank you for sharing this. I need to be brave this week about something in particular. I believe in you. Just the fact that you're willing to say it out loud makes you already brave. So I'm with you, and I hope that it goes well. It is okay to not be okay. Um, the election is important, but we need to take care of ourselves. And reflections of me in Canada, God bless you, because you don't have to deal with the American election. Um, Destiny, I always seem to have an internal external conflict with believing I'm capable, but others not and mind bleeping me. I struggled with this for a long time too. I It took me a long time to get to the point where I do not care what other people think of me. And other people's opinions of me, I understand now, are more about them than they are about me. And so they're not valid because they don't actually know me. Most of the people who comment on me in negative ways have not taken the time to listen to what I have to say and to understand me on a real level. Most people who are critical of others are criticizing the faults they see in themselves. Just an objective truth. When someone criticizes you, they are criticizing the thing about you that they see in themselves that they don't like. And I realize that most of the people for whom I am a villain in their story, because I am the villain in some people's stories, it's not that they hate me, it's that they hate themselves. Objectively true. That's not to say that I don't have faults, it's not to say that, there are things that I couldn't change to be better. It's not to say that I interact perfectly with everyone, but I just recognize that first and foremost, when people are critical of me, it's because there's something in them that they're not settled with. That's first and foremost. I am the only one who has enough knowledge about who I really am to understand my own faults and my own failings, and it's up to me to recognize those things and to change them. It's not up to someone else to point them out to me, and when someone else points out a fault that is real, it stings because I'm like, "Oh, shoot, you're right." Sometimes they get it right, but that just means that we're alike, right? If somebody calls me out for being selfish, it's because they're selfish, and if I really am selfish, it's gonna sting, and then I'm gonna be like, "Oh, we're the same. You're selfish, I'm selfish, we all need to fix that," you know? So, thank you for sharing, and thank you, Becky, for this. Being in an echo chamber just keeps you stupid. If you keep listening to only people who agree with you, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not changing, and you're gonna be stuck. So, uh, yeah, deep dive. Have to know everything. Balance is good. I'm a Libra first and foremost, so I'm always gonna be about that. Uh, Trying to make sure oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I can yep, plenty of people, 100%. You know why? It's because I'm a truth teller, and when I tell the truth about my experiences with people, sometimes it makes those people look bad, and it's kind of like that video that I did about Chad's Little White Book, and the cult leaders got mad, and, they were like, "How dare you call us out for things we're actually doing?" And I'm like, "Maybe don't do toxic things then." So, I'm a villain to them for sure. Uh, I think it's a little good to be that for some people. Um, so yeah, I like this Tiff. And what do you know about that? It's what we say to the critical folks. And when people get really toxic with me, um, I just like to say, "Are you okay?" I just let them rant and rant and rant and rant, and when they're finished, I'm like, "Are you finished?" I don't say that out loud, but I just kind of give them that look like, "You done now? Okay. Are you okay?" Because this is not a proportional response. This is not the way that most people handle this kind of situation. I'm worried about you. Sometimes that makes them more angry, but sometimes it's a chance for connection. So, I just want to reiterate for myself, that my intention for this week is to work harder. That's not normally something I have to remind myself to do, but given the fact that, like, this is my new reality, I have to resist the temptation to go out and work in the yard and water my flowers and play the piano and do stuff like that all day, every day. Like, cause I could, I could just do all that self-care stuff, which it's not a bad thing in moderation, but I need to remind myself that if this is gonna work, I need to work harder, and so that's my intention this week, and I feel good about it. Um, so 0, this is not necessarily that it's just you or that it's just in you. We all have so much grief around us and in us, and just innately in the world too, that if you have a deep sorrow that really, really hurts, like physically hurts, I really recommend talking to a therapist about that or another mental health professional. That is something that you need to dig into if it's physically hurting you, because that means there's something in there that you haven't worked through yet, some grief that you haven't named yet, and I just wanna encourage you to talk to somebody about that, because I think that's one of the only ways that we get it out is by talking about it and by sharing it with other people, so, I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here for each other. Um, so Yeah, me too. I mean, sometimes that's a thing. It has to get to a point where, because I'm normally a very patient person. It takes a lot to rattle me, takes a lot to get me angry. Um, but there are certain things, power differential, if I see a person in power exerting control, coercive control over someone not in power, that makes me really angry. And that's something that I will speak up for in no uncertain terms. Almost everything else I'm able to be a little bit more patient with, but, I do believe in cursing as a mode of releasing anger instead of, um, you know, using physicality or other things like that. I think I shared with you guys a couple weeks ago maybe that my one of my daughters said that she stopped flipping people off in the car, and I was like, "I'm really grateful because some people get really angry, that can be dangerous." She says now she just goes, "Thumbs down." That was a thumbs down decision. And it's amazing how that catches people off guard. I think it's funny. Guys, we're at a little over an hour. I want to say thank you for being here tonight. I want to remind you that on Wednesday evening, we're going to have another episode release. I have an excellent interview with the infamous John Larson. He is a guy that I just really love. He is a farmer. He is a philosopher. He happens to be an ex-Mormon, but he doesn't really identify that way. In fact, he made a big announcement about 6 months ago that he was leaving ex-Mormonism. He did not wanna be identified as an ex-Mormon anymore. So we talk a little bit about that in our interview, but mostly we talk about the concept that if you wanted to live more simply, you could, but the simple life, I think a lot of people have misconceptions about what that means. And so it's important for us to examine that and think, what does simplicity mean? Are there ways that I could simplify my life? And, some of us say, okay, I just want to go out to a cabin in the woods and grow my own food and raise goats and sheeps and chickens. But then we don't think about the amount of work that involves and how many actual things you have to plant to sustain food for yourself and other people. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear this interview. It was one of my favorite conversations ever, and, just so excited for you guys to see it. I posted a little video earlier today about, what coaching with me looks like, how it works. If you wanna do one-on-one coaching, I love connecting with you guys. I love hearing your stories. Even if, we have a conversation and you don't end up coaching with me, I still love connecting with you. So, on my website at third-verse.com, there's if you go to the coaching tab, there is a link where you can sign up for a 15 to 20-minute free phone call with me, and I love connecting with you guys. So, even if you're thinking, "Well, I probably can't do coaching, but I just wanna connect," totally fine. Sign up for a little 15-minute call, and let's chat about your goals and see if there's something that some suggestion I can give you that's helpful, or some resource I can plug you into that you didn't know about before. It is absolutely my favorite thing to connect with you guys one-on-one. So I hope that you will do that. Thank you for being here. Ashley, thank you for your wonderful modding. Thanks to all of you channel members and subscribers who show up all the time, my regulars who are here. I'm really grateful to you for this chat, for showing up for each other, and I hope you have an excellent Sunday night. I hope you have a wonderful week. Keep track of your intentions. I want to connect with you next Sunday and see how you did with your intentions. And I will make a post sometime this week about a meetup in San Antonio. If there are enough of us to get together, I would love to do that. And the rest of you, if you are not in San Antonio and you want to meet up, please email me, megan@third-verse.com. And I will try to get something set up for in the future. So you guys are wonderful people. Thank you so much for being beautiful humans. Please take care of each other, but most importantly, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you.